So your girl is 30, back at home because I left my job and I did not have another job lined up. Hey y'all, welcome back. Happy 2025, as you can see. And if you're in my community post, you see that I rebranded. So it is no longer Cass is Living, but Diary of Cassia. So I hope y'all like the new rebrand, but we're gonna be keeping this for a while until I feel like change it up again. Diary of Cassia is the new channel name, but again, the content is still the same. We still talking about God, we still talking about growing and do what's best for us, right? And more traveling, vlogs, being authentically ourselves. All 2025, okay? We're not settling. And again, to share my motto, if y'all have not read the community post, down below, y'all. Do you have a motto or like something you go by, something to push you when you start the new year? Because I need one. I need one because it keeps me focused. It keeps me going back to like what we doing this year. But this year, the motto is doing the hard thing, y'all. And yeah, we're gonna 2025. But we don't feel like doing something, we're gonna be doing the hard thing, okay? My name is Cassia. Shout out to y'all. I'ma always shout y'all out. Ooh, excuse me. I'ma always shout y'all out for sticking with me since 2020. For those that was with your girl, I see you and I appreciate you. And for everybody that just came in, I see you and I appreciate you as well. I hope you stay and we all, again, continue to grow together. All right, so intro out the way, y'all. Let's get into it. Your girl is back in Indiana. I moved back home from Houston because of my decisions. So your girl is 30, back at home because I left my job and I did not have another job lined up. I know before you leave, you're supposed to have something else. I didn't have that. I jumped ship. But before I jumped, I definitely prayed on it. I prayed on it and I felt like God was giving me the go ahead, but even though he told me yes, I didn't think I'll be back home at Indiana at 30, starting over from scratch. Because I'm literally starting over from scratch. Let me be. Because shout out to my mother. I do have, as y'all can see, I'm sure this couch looked familiar. It was sitting in my studio. Oh, so I'm not technically starting over from scratch. And again, they say when you start over with experience. So let's say that. But I feel like when cracking up, when that bank account is on E, you started from scratch. Okay. To me, when you ain't got nothing up in there, you started over. And I'm sure y'all could agree with me. But again, I still thank God. He's faithful. Winding all the way back, y'all, why I even went into teaching. When I graduated, I did AmeriCorps in Newark, New Jersey for a year. Loved the experience, right? It was a lot, but I love the experience. Met some wonderful people, right? And before I left the program, they wanted me to stay and teach, right? They would even pay for my schooling and all that. But I was like, no, because I really didn't want to teach. This video, I think it was 30 and Evolving. Oh, that's my series, y'all. 30 and Evolving. Watch other videos if you didn't. But it was titled like why I quit my teaching certification program. And it just kind of go into detail about like the goal was really never to teach. Now, do I love to teach? Yes, y'all. I love to teach what I know, whether it's in a classroom, community center, health wise, at church. I was a Sunday school teacher. I love to teach, right? I have a passion for it. But within the classroom setting, I feel like I always settled there because again, right now in this economy, teaching is shortage. It's a shortage right now. And so I thought, okay, if I get my teacher certification program, become actually like TOR, then I can always have a job, right? I'll always have job security. But that's just not true. That's just not true. That's not true, especially with how the teaching that I wanted to teach was the era when I was a child. I feel like then was just a better timing because now, like, your salary is based on like scores and evaluations. I just feel like there's so much more into keeping your job as a teacher than it was then. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. I told myself that I will not let another position drive me into depression and anxiety anymore in life. And again, it's not always the job, right? I would say for the most part, it was a job. Some parts is definitely me. It's definitely me because I get one thing I notice about myself is that I burn out quickly. I burn out quickly, and anything I'm doing, I'm so invested. I'm invested, and I want to see something done to perfection. No such thing as perfect, right? But I be want to see something through to the end, like as seamless and smooth as possible. And a lot of times going into these organizations, I can just see all the fixtures that need to be done in the place. And so many times my friends, my family be like, Cassio, when you go into this position, don't try to take over. Don't suggest this. Just clock in and clock out, clock in and clock out. And I really be trying, y'all. I do. I try. But when I clock in, it's like, and again, it's a me problem. I don't know. I just see the mess. And there's no perfect company, there's no perfect position, no perfect job, no perfect supervisor, all of that, right? But I don't know. So when I go into this next position, I'm already telling myself, do what's within your job description, do your absolute best, and give the rest to God because as I'm getting older, okay, y'all, listen, I know I'm just 30. But for all my 30-year-olds, tap in, please, in the comments. Let me know I'm not out here by myself on my own island. When you're 30, as soon as I turn 30, y'all, I kid you not. My birthday is August 19th, okay? Last year, 2024, August 19th, I was in my bed sick. I was sick, y'all. I was sick. I was in my bed sick as a dog on bed rest. Like, I don't know what it was, but for a while, like my stomach was extra sensitive to everything. I just felt like as soon as I turned 30, a switch came on and my body just started receiving all these problems. Now that I'm getting older, as I'm going into these different positions and especially wanting to be in leadership, okay? Some things you just cannot take on, like that you just should not take on, right? Do what you can do it to your best and then let it go and move on. Let's go back to Houston, okay? I miss it so much. I know it's just there yesterday, okay? But I miss it so much, y'all. The weather is just so perfect. The food, seasoned, delicious, hot and ready. Coming back home to Indiana, I thought I missed the snow, but I don't. I did it. I did it. When I came back for Thanksgiving, I was like, this is just so wonderful. It's like a winter wonderland. But now that I'm here in December, January, I'm like, God, this ain't what I want. This ain't what I want. When I asked you if I could quit my job, I was hoping you would line something up for your girl in Houston. Now I'm making a comeback in Indiana. But now that I'm here, okay, before I get into it. Okay. Initially going to Houston, couldn't really find a job, right? But I went to school district number 1. There it was cool. But I'm like, I still want to test the waters and see like what else is out there, try the different school districts. Because in Houston, there's tons, right? I should say tons, but there's a lot in Houston. And so school district number 1, it was cool, but excuse me, got some congestion. Some stuff went down in Higleytown, okay? Some stuff went down. And long story short, they let me go. So I'm like, okay, I really had no choice but to go to something else. And again, they're always hiring for teachers. They're always hiring for somebody in these schools. So I go to school district number 2, but I was praying to go to school district number 2 anyway, because it's just so huge, right? and you can just move around. But going to all these job fairs and doing all these interviews, I'm just like, God, what's going on? But before I went to school district number 2, I applied to become a child development teacher, right? That was my certification under child development and family studies. So it's like, that elective course or that CTE course. And I started doing my assignments on that, right? Because going into school district number 2, they do want to see that you have that you're at least in a certification program, and I was, but I couldn't find the position that I wanted, which was child development family studies, right? And the teachers that were in that position has been there for a minute, and they're not going anywhere. Understandable, because I mean, it's such a great class and course. It's just about life. I love teaching just about life and sharing my experiences. So couldn't find it, and I landed in special education. And I've done special education back in Newark, New Jersey. But as you all know, there's different stages and different levels within special education. So initially, I was supposed to do in-class support. Then they needed help in the other classrooms, and they started pulling on me because one thing I'm gonna do, y'all, and this, I don't complain. If you ask me to do something, I'm gonna do it. But the thing is, if I see there's something that needs to be having more of a flow, more of a process, then I'm gonna give my 2 cents. And that's where it's like, is it needed? But if it comes down to a point where it's like, oh, it's all on Cassia to do it, then yeah, I shouldn't be in this alone when we're a team. Okay. And that's mainly what happened at school district number 2. My schedule kept changing. I had to remind them I needed a lunch, and yeah, just a lot of stuff I didn't agree with. I just feel like the department needed just more structure. And a lot happened, and I found myself getting headaches again. At this time, I was dealing with some health issues, and yeah, I was like, oh no, oh no. It's really like, I think 3 months in, and I'm already like, I don't want to go to that place. And I was like, I refuse, I refuse, I refuse, I refuse to be anxious and depressed over a job. I got burnt out already, but I was the only one talking with the teachers, talking with the staff. A lot of people were getting burnt out. Also, it was because a new system was like in play, right? So I prayed on it, and the good Lord said, go ahead and go. But when he said that, I thought there was another position lined up for me. And I'm applying, I'm applying, I'm applying. And another thing I said is, when I apply to my next position, I'm not going to settle. Like, I don't just want to get a job to have a job. But I feel like that's also not the best mindset to have when you don't have money coming in, bills to pay, when you got rent due. Like, it's not, that's not, I feel that's not the best mindset to have. I just said, okay, forget that, right? Cassia, you need a job, you need some money. So where I lived, or like literally around the corner from me, was a plaza and a Kroger. So I applied to Kroger, Home Goods, Bath and Body Works. Did I apply to Dollar Tree? I don't think I applied to Dollar Tree, but TJ Maxx. And all of them told me no, or they didn't get back with me. It's not like, okay, so I walked in the store, I said, hey, I applied. You know what's going on? They said, oh, call and da da da. Still not getting back with me. It was this sauna around the way, and they didn't get back with me. And I said, I literally live across the street, and y'all need somebody to open them doors. Why ain't you picking me up? Why ain't you hiring? I'm literally, I am. It's not even across the street. We're all in the same vicinity. Like, yeah, whatever. They ain't hiring. So I kept praying on it. I was fasting. I was just thanking God for opening doors, opening doors, opening doors, right? He knows what your girl want in life. But at the same time, try not to let those things get so big to where it's like, oh, this is going to happen for sure. It's more like, a God, this is what I would love to happen. And if it's in your will, amen. Thank you, Jesus. And if not, boo-hoo, I'm going to be sad. But your way is better than whatever I got going on. Okay, so I see this U-Haul truck in the alleyway, and it said Indiana. And I ain't never seen a U-Haul truck from Indiana in Houston. I've been living there for a year and a half. For this has been a year and a half now. And I see U-Haul trucks all the time when I see Indiana. And just to make a long story short of that whole ordeal, like it came in the alleyway 4 times, 3 or 4 times. I want to say 4 times. But the second time it came, I said, God, if it's for me to go back to Indiana, which means back at home, let me see it a third time. And not only the third time, let it back all the way to the alley. And I didn't pray it out loud because the enemy be listening. I prayed in my mind, and that thing, sure enough, I said, "Oh." I remember I was crying. I forget what I was crying about, but I was crying, and I was in there cooking. I was in the kitchen cooking, and my blinds was like halfway, so it wasn't all the way down, but it was like just enough to where I could see the alley. And then I see the truck, beep beep beep, and I was like, I know that Indiana Indiana U-Haul, y'all. It went all the way to the end of the alley, and I cry even harder. I cry harder because I'm like, I don't want to go back home. I don't want to go back to Indiana. It is crazy because I told my friends in Houston, I ain't never going back to Indiana ever. It is my spot. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to give me a husband, have some kids. We're going to have land. We're going to, all of this. And I see that U-Haul truck. And I'm like, okay. I started crying because I thought I officially made it, right? I thought I officially made it, and that I'm just on the up and up. For me, coming back home, I felt like I hit a deep dive, and it's probably dramatic, but plunged. Feel like I plunged. Oh man. So the next day, I believe I see the U-Haul truck. And I'm like, okay, God, if yesterday was a confirmation, I feel like Cassia, like, yeah, you're going back home. I'm back here at home with my family, and praise the Lord. All jokes aside, like I said, initially I didn't want to come back home, but now that I'm home, it's like being around my family has healed a part of me that I didn't know. Well, not healed, but healing a part of me that I didn't know needed the healing. Ain't that crazy? I do thank God for being back home. Back home is where I honestly needed to be or need to be. Now granted, I still want my own place. Still want my own place. I love my siblings. Love them, love them, love them down. But your girl just wants her own place. I'm 30. It's not even about being 30. I just want my own place and my own space. So stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. Again, tap in with me in the comments. If y'all got any encouraging words, some scriptures. If you're a teacher, shout out to you. Thank you for teaching our kids. We need you, and stay strong. Stay strong. If you know somebody hiring. Okay, just kidding. Just kidding. But stay tuned, y'all. Okay. And thank you for tapping into Cassia Diaries, and more to come.